then, so in this video I'm going to show how I'm sort of going to renovate these windows for the camper van build that I'm doing. These windows I got from a guy who owned a boatyard. They came out of a narrowboat, and I believe, because there's some old, I think, VIN numbers here from an old car, they come out of an old Morris van at some point. I think that's where they came from originally. So I got the two windows. It was £40 for two, which in comparison to new windows is very cheap. I'm gonna have to sort of clean them up, strip them back, and get it to the condition this one is. So basically, you can also use horsebox windows if you're looking for cheap windows yourself. Horsebox windows, van windows, narrowboat windows, caravan windows, anything, as long as you're willing to do the work on them. So all I used to go from that to that was just a brush, chisel, old rubbish chisel, Stanley knife, masking tape and spray paint. That was from Toolstation, about a £5. Seems to have gone on pretty well. I'll have to see, it might scratch off quite easily. Probably could do the primer, but I'm doing this just quick, easy and cheap and simple, so I'll see how it holds up and I'll let you know. Right then, so first step is going to be peeling off the old mastic with the chisel, then scraping it back. You'll need a bit of steel wool as well. Scraping it back, trying to clean it up. I'm not going to be too precious over any of it. And then the bit that my wife loves, when I take it upstairs and clean it in the bathtub, and then spray paint and the finish. So yeah, let's get started. Right, so to start, I'm just going to remove this old sealant mastic. It looks like on the one side it had rusted to whatever it was actually screwed to, but then actually underneath on the frame itself it's in perfect condition. I'm assuming it's aluminium or something like that, but it comes off relatively easily. And I'm gonna make sure any of the larger bits are removed. So all of the big bits take off. I mean, you could spend a lot of time, but when I put this back onto the van, the plan is to use a couple of tubes of Tiger Seal, which is basically like a sort of permanent bond. People, well, used to use it to stick your body kits onto your cars. So it should, in theory, bond the window in quite nicely. But that's what I'm going to use, so I'm not worrying too much about it being a perfectly flat surface, because when I put the bead of sealant on, it's going to probably raise up quite a lot as well itself. But as soon as I've got all of this off, I'll then concentrate on cleaning out all the seals on the inside, because these have been left for a long time. I think, like I say, just in this boatyard where they've got a lot of dirt and moss and rubbish in. But again, you know, if you are planning on doing these types of things on a budget, this is the best way of going about it. I was researching new windows, and the price for new windows, two new windows, sliding opening with black frames, and I think they were privacy tinted as well. They were horsebox windows I was looking at. Again, seemed to be cheaper than motorhome or anything else. And they were priced up at roughly, I think, £50–60 a window. So, you know, not bad at all, really. That was quite cheap. That took quite a lot of searching to find them. But they were a fair bit smaller as well. And I like the idea of, you know, using something that otherwise probably would have been chucked away. I'll probably regret it when it rains and water pours in from behind these crooked windows. But you know what? I'll regret it then. For the time being, I'm quite happy and content. Now, the only thing that I've had with these two windows is, as you know, I've already done the one. Now, this one is great because, as you can see here, it's got this old catch Now all that does simply is hinge down to stop anyone from the outside trying to push the window. Now that tiny little catch is missing from the other window. So I had a look today on eBay, and funnily enough I managed to find it's a Morris vintage website for old car parts, and there is one available, and it's £10, which in the grand scheme of things is nothing, but I can't bring myself to spend £10 on a tiny little hinge. So I went to my favourite app, AliExpress, and I found some little cabinet hinges, £2. So I think I'm going to try and buy them and literally just put a normal hinge on, which has a sort of an angle to it, and just see if that works. If not, I will have to invest the grand sum of £10 for an actual matching piece. But this isn't a historical restoration, so I'm not worrying too much about having everything perfect. Then mastic's off, so next step is the horrible bit: cleaning, degreasing, scraping, making them look half decent. So really just got to get started. So, right. So they are not clean, but I've scored them under the garden hose, used steel wool to get the worst of the rubbish off. I'm not worrying too much because I am going to spray paint them. I'm sure you could spend a lot of time on them, get them really nice, but no, they're looking pretty good. So now it's time to room a nice clean bathroom, put them in some nice hot soapy water, keep scrubbing, and we'll see how they look at the end of it. Right then, so the window's as clean as I can be bothered to make it. Next step is masking, but before that we had to make sure that it was completely dry. Now there's two ways of doing it. You can either use a hairdryer and tissue, or patience, but I don't have any patience, so I use the hairdryer and tissue. Right, so the only thing worth noting really when masking these up is just around the tops of the window. You can see there is a rubber seal against the glass. Now, I don't think it would really matter, but the idea is I'm going to be trying to cover the rubber seal best I can, and then just make sure that the frame's exposed. I mean, you can see there, I haven't got a perfect edge, but we are spraying them black, and that's a black rubber seal. I don't think it's really going to matter, but obviously this step I will sort of do a little time lapse. It takes a long time. The more time you can spend masking, the happier you'll be with your outcome. So it is worth devoting that extra bit of patience. But yeah, nothing else to say. Let's get started. Right, so that's one side all masked up. I'm doing one side then the other, because they're sliding it, so I can sort of get in all the nooks and crannies. But you could probably, depending on your window, mask it all at once. But so I've done one side now. I'm happy with that. Next step is going to be to paint. Like I say, you probably should. Well, if I was doing this on anything else, I would normally primer, use the paint, and use the top coat. But I just brought this really tough paint from Toolstation, so yeah, hopefully it will give a durable finish. Now, when using spray paint, you should always be in a well ventilated area, and you should always wear a mask. But because drugs aren't cheap, I normally just do this and just enjoy the fumes, really. But all you have to do really is make sure that you're just doing really small strokes like that. Build it up slowly. I again use a hairdryer because I don't have patience, and keep making sure it's dry. Next coat dry, getting all the nooks and crannies. Keep changing your angle, rotate the piece, working all the areas. you know, just try and make sure you've got every little bit, and make sure you put enough on as well. But that's all you really need to bear in mind. Like I say, just small repeated strokes and a really helpful dog. So cheers. Right then, that's all of the painting done. Like I say, you should definitely put a top coat on this, like a clear coat. You should always use primer, but I didn't use either and won't because I'm lazy and cheap. So we get the satisfying bit now. Oh, and I've obviously not been patient and let it dry either, so just peel it off straight away. I do think though, if you leave it too long, but it can bond to the masking tape and cause a bit of an issue. So as long as it's you know, dry enough that you're not just going to smear paint everywhere, get the masking tape off. Now, one other thing is, because it's glass, if you have had any spray over whilst you've been spraying, all you need, just get yourself a little blade, and then you can literally just skim over the window, and that will just take off any of the little bits that you may have got on there. But as you can see, it's looking pretty good. Don't know how durable they're going to be, but they look better than they did, and I don't really care. So yeah, I think what I'll do now is I'll get this last bit off, clean them up, and then I'll take a nice shot of both of the windows together. So here's a finished article. I think they've come out looking pretty good for a set of £40 canal boat windows. I will be filming the renovation of the van, but at the moment it's currently having some welding doing, so that's why I'm starting with windows that aren't even on it yet. But I will start uploading those videos soon, so it'll be a mini camper conversion. If you want to see any more videos, just have a look on the page. I'm going to try and start loading more videos on. If you want to see the shed that I'm studying now and the summer house and the workshop next door, I've got that video up. But yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers.